Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and to another video. Today I'm going to talk to you about hobby mental health. Now there's probably quite a few of you sat there thinking that there's a strange man on the screen lip syncing to one of my videos, but it's Mental Health Awareness Week in the UK this week, and as it's a subject so important and one I wanted to do a video on, I thought it was only right to be sat in front of the camera while I'm doing it. Now, if you've not seen the Warhammer podcast, this is probably the first time you've actually seen me on camera, so hi everyone, nice to see you. But speaking of that podcast, myself, Wargaming Luke and Ben, aka 90% Geek, all agreed that for Mental Health Awareness Week, we'd all like to do a video that would be somehow beneficial to the community, or at least one person in the community, for Mental Health Awareness Week, rather than just do a video for doing a video's sake. We wanted to do something that could potentially help someone, or at least give some guidance. Now, when it comes to mental health, and you hear that term, mental health issue, for some people it kind of comes with a stigma. They think it's some sort of serious problem with the mind or the brain, and very often it's not the case. It just could be something that just causes a little bit of stress. Now, in the past, it's been that mental health just isn't talked about. It's not a subject that you bring up and, it's like, oh, it's not me. And that's changing, which is really good. People are starting to talk about it. And when it comes to the hobby, a lot of people are now starting to talk about it. The hobby there's a lot of men in the hobby statistically. That's just how it is. That's changing, which is great. And men are notorious for not talking about mental health issues. Myself, I have a little bit of anxiety. I overthink things and sometimes I get worked up by trying to do too many things at once or whatever. And if you'd have told me 2 years ago that I had anxiety, I would have laughed at you and said no chance. I just get a little bit stressed sometimes, or I overthink things. It was only when I sat down and talked to someone and they pointed out a few things that I realised I actually did have a little bit of anxiety. And now that I know that, I can avoid things that would cause it, so it helps me deal with it better. So knowing that has helped me greatly. Now, enough about me. When it comes to stress and everyday things that could cause a little bit of mental health issues, quite often we use the hobby to escape from the stresses of day-to-day life. Like, you have a tough day at work or college or whatever, it's great to come home, get behind the desk and just disappear into the world of Warhammer or wargaming or whatever. Pick up some miniatures, build some miniatures, paint some miniatures, listen to a Black Library novel or an audio book or something like that. Or just read a White Dwarf or something simple. But it got me thinking, that's all well and good, that works for me. I love to come home from work and do some hobby just to escape, or watch a podcast or YouTube videos or something on the hobby. But what if it's the other way around? What if something in the hobby causes us stress? What if you've got hobby burnout? Now, we all know what that is, and it's horrible. Getting to that point where you just feel like you can't carry on anymore, or you've just had enough of painting something and you don't want to go on, or you get a little bit of stress because you don't think you can paint something up to the standard that it should be. You don't feel like posting your stuff online because you're not confident enough. Or it could be that you have got a tournament coming up and you need to get your army painted for the tournament, and it's stressing you out because you're not going to have time to do it, or you don't think you're going to have time to do it. Or it could be that you want to go and play war games in a group with other people, but you're not very confident in groups and stuff like that. So sometimes the hobby can cause us stress, not help us escape from it. So it got me thinking, what can we do to try and avoid those pitfalls? And I've come up with something. And it's this: walking. So one of the things I've discovered recently is getting out and walking, especially with the weather getting better. Got myself a fancy new Garmin watch that tells me to move more. But yeah, sometimes we get hobby burnout, don't we? And sometimes the hobby can give us a little bit of stress or a bit of anxiety or something like that. So it got me thinking, if it makes me feel good to get away from my desk and get out and get some fresh air, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the countryside or, the woods or whatever. I mean, I'm quite lucky, it's on my doorstep. But it could be just getting out for some fresh air, going for a walk to a park, or just get out and walk. Anyway, give me an idea. If it helps me, maybe it could help some others as well. So Walkhammer. #Walkhammer. Let's see if we can get that trending. It's Mental Health Awareness Week, but it doesn't have to stop there. So when you're posting your miniatures online and you put like #Warhammer community or something like that, put Walkhammer or hobby health or something like that. If you get out to the gym or you just go for a walk or you go and walk the dog, just maybe put, been out for a nice walk today, got away from my desk for 10 minutes, #Walkhammer or something like that. Because I think the problem with hobbyists, especially when you do it a lot, is if you're a student or you're working full time, you work all day or you go to college or whatever all day, and you go home and you sit at your desk, and then that's it. And the hobby is often a stationary thing. You don't get a lot of exercise when you sat at your desk painting or building miniatures. So it just got me thinking, maybe we could do something for Mental Health Week and just get everyone out a little bit, get some fresh air. So let's see if we can get Warhammer trending. I mean, it works for me. It doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody else, does it? But getting out, get a bit of fresh air, just get away from your desk every now and again, and just get rid of that burnout, get some fresh air, and it helps keep us fit and healthy as well, which I think is one of the main things, isn't it? But that's just my thoughts on it. I just thought I'd do a little bit of something different for the channel, get out in the fresh air and talk to you from here. And you can see me on the camera. Obviously, if you've not watched the Warhammer podcast, you've probably never seen me before. You'll have seen me at the start of the video, but like I said, it's just a little bit of something different for the channel, and just one of those crazy ideas that I've come up with. But anyway, back to the studio. So I know on the face of it, it sounds a little bit silly, Walkhammer, but I've found that getting out just for some fresh air, getting away from my desk and walking has really helped me just zone out and relax. So I'm away from work, I'm away from the stresses of work. Sometimes just being at home can cause you stress. I'm away from home and I'm away from my desk and things that could stress me out while I'm at my desk, like getting worked up over a paint job or something like that. So when I'm out walking, I can just relax and just let my mind wander. And sometimes it's good to just go walking and I can think about the hobby. I think, oh, I'm going to paint that next, or I'm going to build that next, or I really want that squad pack for Star Wars Shatterpoint, or oh, the new Space Marines look awesome, I think I might get them. So it's good to just get away and just get some fresh air as well. And obviously the benefits of going out walking and getting a little bit fitter, getting a little bit of exercise, gets us away from our desk. Because as I said in the video that you saw where I was walking, the problem with this hobby is quite often we're sat on our backsides at the hobby desk doing miniatures, so we're not really getting a lot of exercise. We're just sat there doing hobby, which is great obviously, but it's very stationary. You sat there not doing anything. So I want to try and get the hashtag Walkhammer trending. And I know that sounds a little bit daft, but if you're doing something and you're going out and you're having a walk, you're walking your dog, or you're going to the gym, or you're doing a bit of exercise, you hit the treadmill or whatever, post it online, hashtag Walkhammer or hashtag hobby health, or in fact let's use both those hashtags. When you're doing a bit of hobbying and it's took you away from the stress, you've had a hard day at work and you come home doing a bit of hobby, hashtag hobby health as well as Warhammer community. It's Mental Health Awareness Week. Let's do something to show that we're de-stressing ourselves, we're helping ourselves. And if you're going out and doing some walking or doing a bit of exercise and stuff like that, hashtag Walkhammer, put it on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, put it on Instagram, whatever you want to do, Facebook or whatever. Get out, do a little bit of not so much exercise. I'm not telling anyone to go and do exercise, but I'm just saying, for me, getting out walking and just getting some fresh air every now and again, just getting away from my desk, has been an absolute godsend. With the weather getting nicer up here in the UK, it's summer coming up now, so it's going to get nicer and nicer, hopefully. As I'm recording this video, it's raining outside, but I'm going to get out walking much more. I've got this watch that's telling me to move more as well, which is fantastic. So it's just a little bit of a different video for the channel. Obviously, with it being mental health, as I said earlier, I felt it was important to be sat in front of the camera talking about it, because it is a subject quite close to me, and I know many others care quite deeply about mental health as well. And in the hobby, there might be a few people that do have some minor mental health issues, or just issues that cause them stress, but they don't do anything about it. They just take it on the chin, if you like, for want of a better phrase. So all I would say to close out the video is, if something is bugging you, try and do something about it. Don't let it bug you. Try and do something to help you de-stress and just get away from the stresses of life. And the other thing I would say as well, if you are struggling and something is causing you stress, you might think you're on your own, but you're not. The hobby is there for you and the community is there for you. If you really are struggling, you can't talk to anyone, and you need someone to just chat with about the hobby, just talk about Space Marines or whatever, and you don't have anyone, message me, contact me. I will always talk to everyone about hobby. The reason I made this YouTube channel is because I didn't have an outlet during lockdown, or the year following lockdown, and I just needed someone to talk to and just blurt out stuff about the hobby. That's why I made this channel. So if you are struggling, just remember the community is always there. Anyway, enough about that now. I've waffled on long enough. As I said, Mental Health Awareness Week, very important. Might do another video on it as well. I know Ben, 90% Geek, is doing a video on mental health as well. I think that's already been published now at the time of recording. So go and watch that. I think Luke's going to do one. We're going to be talking about it in the Warhammer podcast as well. Yeah, it's just something that is important to myself, and I know many others as well. So let's just do something about it. If you're going out walking, don't forget #Walkhammer. Right, gone on long enough. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy it, that's fine, give it a thumbs down, or alternatively just leave a comment, let me know why you didn't like it, because that will always help make me better videos in the long run. Don't forget to like and subscribe, you know, all that usual nonsense. You can hit the subscribe button but not press the bell button if you don't want to get spammed by notifications. But all I will say is thank you very much for watching. As always, I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.